Meanwhile, the ANC has reportedly deployed Jessie Duarte to the new Northwest. Residents there up in arms demanding the immediate resignation of Premier Supra Mahumapelo. The health sector in that region also being rendered ineffective as healthcare workers continue to strike. Well, let's get more insight on this particular story. We're joined by political analyst Professor Lesiba Teffo. Good evening, Prof. In this particular story, we can't seem to separate the political from the administrative, because while Supra Mahumapelo might be facing a political situation, the administrative issues that have led to a lack of service delivery are also those that he needs to account for. What is your reading of what needs to happen in terms of bringing both under control?
Look, mere anarchy is loosed upon people. The center cannot hold in Northwest, and the emperor is indeed without clothes. One of the problems that we are often faced with in South Africa and in Africa in general is the collapse of governance and political oversight. Because when the premier is fighting his political battles, it ought not to impact on governance. But because of this collapse, because of interference by the politicians with the administration of the province of government in general, then you end up in this political conundrum, if I may call it. Now, you would say, yes, there are political problems that the political head must deal with. And indeed, many of them were on the table for quite some time. And I find it extremely disingenuous to try to attribute this to the political expedience of the day. For most of them were on the table prior to Nasrec. They ought to have been addressed then. There are two things for me here. There are political matters that the premier can deal with and must deal with, but there are also personal matters that also impinges and impact on his performance as a head of state or head of the province.
As you're speaking, Prof, I'm seeing a statement coming in, and that's that the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is also scheduled to visit the Northwest tomorrow, accompanied by the ANC Secretary General, Ace Magashule, and, of course, Jessie Duarte. And, of course, they'll already be joining some of the deployees of the NEC that had been sent to that region. So, certainly, the ANC is taking this seriously. But we know that 3 weeks ago already, the NWC had received a report that describes the level of problems that the Northwest is facing, but to date, it seemingly wasn't handled until this motion of no confidence was brought forward.
Look, you and I have been around, and we are in this space. We understand to some extent how the political game is played. There is no doubt that it is time out for Ntate Mahumapelo. If you look at the script, it is how it plays itself, especially on the African continent. That's how Charles Taylor left the office in Liberia, how Mobutu left office, how Mubarak also left the office. All I'm seeing happening now, the political heavyweights of the ANC are now going hammam sadinyana, and for the simple reason, I suspect by Sunday the latest, and there is a tendency of late that we get announcement of this nature around midnight that Ntate Mahumapelo will be out of office. They will find a political solution. I think he will be amenable to it, because that would at least to some extent help retain some semblance of stability in the organization. Remember the statement made by Jessie Duarte. We cannot be seen to be supporting a motion of no confidence in our own cadre sponsored by the opposition, and that insists the space in that province. That statement was extremely unfortunate, because it really added fuel to already volatile and inflammable situation. And I'm thinking they are testing the ground, they are softening the ground. There will be a solution, a political solution. He may be deployed to parliament and a credible person be brought in. And I would be happy, or at least be more amenable to a suggestion that says, let a neutral person maybe taken from parliament or somewhere else, rather than from the contestants or protagonists in this battle for the province. At least that can put in some stability, and indeed that may impact on service delivery. Otherwise, anybody from within the warring camps will only perpetuate the strife.
But Prof, if he has failed the people of the Northwest in terms of providing basic services, politics aside, why does he deserve to be in another position, especially within any kind of government office? Surely that does not solve the problem, because if he's been inefficient in one sector, it doesn't mean that it will change in another.
One of the elders that I take advice from, and I often kneel at his feet, once said to me, there is a tendency that to promote to higher levels of inefficiency those who have been demoted or found wanting. What a contradiction in terms. When you fail in position X, you get elevated to a higher position almost to promote inefficiency. History attests to that fact. But I'm saying it probably would be politically astute and prudent on their part, because there is somebody somewhere who's waiting for the disenchanted, disaffected, and those who may allege and claim that they are being purged.